strap in for a wild ride, because today we are attempting a new 2-tower chimps world record, and we're gonna try a bunch of maps, strats and ideas, and we got new update notes to go over, but first let me speedrun the history of this challenge to you. So it all started back in update 35, when I set out to find the best 2-tower chimps combo in terms of getting as far as possible into free play, and in that video I got to the conclusion that the Ray of Doom and Ultra Boost combo was the best, and it made it to round 140. And beating that round was impossible. You could pop the fortified bad, but the DDTs would kill you every time, and then some other people tried to see if it was possible on longer maps like Logs or Scrapyard that had recently released a few updates prior, but turns out it was just flat out undoable. So 140 remained the limit for a long time up until update 48, when the laser beam gained some damage, and then I thought I would try again. Once more I started up Resort, but this time I placed my rod on the left side to make use of its bonus damage to the first target it hits. So basically, once I pop the fortified bad, I won't have the regular bad be in my way when I'm trying to pop the DDTs, and that way I can get the bonus damage onto them and hopefully pop them in time. And indeed it worked. I popped the DDTs, but then to my surprise the fortified ZOMGs turned out to be the problem. I tried many times and I got really close, but it just wasn't possible, so once more round 140 had defeated me. But then Mr. Mahalik came to the rescue and said, hey, why not try it on Logs as well? So he got the Ray of Doom at the very end of the track, and on round 140 he popped the bad, then the DDTs, and even managed to pop the insides, and finally round 140 had been broken. So then he went on into the randomly generated rounds that start after 140, so here RNG will play a big role in terms of how far you can get, and especially since the Ray of Doom is already starting to struggle at these rounds. He ended up dying on round 143 and set the new 2-tower chimps world record. Now, right after me and Mahalik had finished our games, I was told that a player by the name of Dansha43 had submitted a game to the BTD6 index of a 2-tower chimps round 140 completion back in update 41, before the changes that enabled Mahalik to pull off this run. He used a different Ray of Doom spot, and strangely he used the bottom crosspath on the NG, so he didn't have the sentries to help out versus the purple bloons on rounds 62 and 78, and how that's even possible I don't even know. And sadly there is only a screenshot and no video. You gotta record your runs, folks. I mean, I have a picture of me with huge biceps, but you all know that shit's edited. So this run is a bit of a question mark, but either way he didn't continue the run into free play, but if this run is legit, then he did have the record for a while of round 141. And that takes us to today. In update 51 we got a huge buff to the Ray of Doom's bonus damage to the first target that it hits, so once again we are going to go for a new record. With this change, having the Ray of Doom be able to attack the most imminent threat as the first bloon that it hits is more important than ever, so I wanted to experiment with some new maps and placements. I started with Cubism and my Ray of Doom firing down the long line to start the round, and then be able to turn around and hit DDTs as my first target with nothing blocking my attacks as the DDTs are about to exit. But Cubism just isn't good enough. It's shorter than Logs and even shorter than Resort, and the track overlapping might be okay, but it's not as great as the other two maps, so being able to turn around and attack the DDTs as your first target was not worth the trade, and this failed already on round 138, which is the most brutal DDT round. So then I went back to Resort and I used my old spot, this time not for the sake of beating round 140, but for the sake of being able to turn around the Ray of Doom to shoot downwards at DDTs at 140 plus. Round 138 went by super easily on this map, especially after the buff. Round 140 was also really freaking easy. You pop the fortified bad so much earlier than before, so popping its insides is no problem at all. The single target damage buff is really quite big. And now I was ready to beat Mahalik's round 143 record, until I wasn't. As I said, after round 140 are randomly generated rounds, and I got the short end of the stick with 3 bads on round 142, which made me fall short of the record. So basically I needed more luck, but luckily for me, I know just where to get some. Meet our friend Dogs. You might remember him from winning the first freeplay competition I hosted. A while back, he took off his thigh-high socks and said, enough of this bad luck I'm having, I want to know in advance what rounds are gonna look like. And so he got to work on understanding how the BTD6 save file works, and with that big brain of his, he figured it out and coded up a website for all of us freeplay lovers to use. So you start a game, play one round, and then back out of the game, so a save on that map is created in your profile save file. Then you upload that file to his round predictor tool, select the map you played one round on, and then enter the range of rounds that you want to see and what kind of info you want to know about those rounds. And like magic, there it is. All of the rounds, what bloons are gonna come, how many, and in what order, and now we have all of the luck that we need. Thanks, Dogs. So I start up another resort game, get 10 stacks both on the Ultra Boost and the NG itself, cause why not, just a little bit of stalling can get you that extra bit of time that you need. We beat round 140 easily once more, and onwards towards the record we march. 141, 142, 143, and yeah, this time the rounds weren't that bad. I didn't spend a lot of time at all searching for good seeds. I just generated like 5 different ones and picked the best one. So I picked one that wouldn't have a single round with 3 bads in it right after 140, and I also tried avoiding getting too many rounds with a lot of DDTs, especially if those DDTs are towards the middle or end of a round, when my Ray of Doom might be blocked by ZOMGs or other bloons. But my run died pretty fast anyway. I got a lot of fortified DDTs while being blocked by ZOMGs. As I said, I didn't spend too much time on generating a good seed. At this point I was ready to call it quits since I got the record, but I got kind of hooked and I wanted to try out logs as well because I had an idea. I have a pretty big brain too, you see. On logs, Mahalik used this spot, which I'm not a huge fan of after these buffs, to the first target that the Ray of Doom hits, because I feel like because of this vertical line, you're probably gonna have a lot of bloons right in front of you a lot of the time, blocking you from getting that bonus damage onto the fast DDTs. But at the same time, I'm also not a huge fan of the spot that Dansha43 used, because the origin of the laser beam is a little too far out, so it might not hit some bloons when they pass by here, missing out on some damage. So I found this new spot. Place the Dartling here in this corner, and that way you will get the origin of the laser further back and you can still shoot through the log for most of it. There is a portion that is blocked off, but you can still shoot all the way to spawn and you got a nice straight line towards the exit, for which you now have added another few track units of laser coverage. The problem is that this only happens when you upgrade the Dartling to tier 5 and the tower becomes visually bigger. When it's tier 4, you won't be able to shoot through the log, and this proved to make the mid-game almost impossible. So let's go through my final run. Start by getting the NG, then the Sentry upgrade, then the Dartling, and after that the upgrade order doesn't really matter as long as you have the Foam upgrade in time for lead bloons. Then get the Plasma Accelerator, and after that the Overclock, and now it's gonna be smooth sailing up to round 62, where you overclock the NG itself so it can more easily take down all of the purple bloons that are immune to plasma. You can do this without overclocking the NG, but it makes it a lot easier. Then we get to round 78, where we got some more purples, so we wait until we pop the first ceramic rush and then overclock the NG once more. This will end up being a good timing that gives the NG some time to spawn more sentries before the purple bloon shows up, and then we can overclock the Dartling once again and the round goes by without any hassle. And then comes round 82. Let me first show you what Mahalik did. He had to give this round a good number of tries because this is a really tough one, and when he eventually beat it, this is how close it was.
Oh my gosh, that took so long.
And right after that comes 83 with spread out fortified super ceramics, and this round he couldn't beat at all, so he restarted and pulled off a brilliant move to beat round 81 without an overclock by popping the BFBs and Moabs in reverse order to layer the cerams on top of each other, and then he was able to get the Ray of Doom on 82, so both 82 and 83 would be free. Now, I can't really do that move with my limited field of view because of the log, so I'm gonna have to try to beat both 82 and 83 the standard way that Mahalik tried to do in his first attempt, despite that I'm blocked by the log, and turns out that was insanely difficult. So for 82, I begin by aiming here until I pop all of the non-fortified BFBs, and then I will sort of juggle my attention between aiming at the fortified BFBs in front and the ceramics. And this is because the timings that you need to pop the BFBs in is pretty exact. You don't want to pop them too fast or too slow. Then I trace the ceramics with my aim, because the end point of the laser has more damage and I need to pop the regular ceramics as fast as possible so I can refocus on the first few fortified Moabs and then the fortified ceramics that they will spawn that are really tough. And the first ones pop right before exiting, and then I focus on the next few Moabs and it was the same thing there. The cerams pop right before I die. And then for the final 3 BFBs that are left, I've already damaged them quite a bit, so they are almost ready to pop, so I carefully take them down one at a time so I don't get overrun. And it actually ended up working. Holy god, gamer. Now, for round 83, that couldn't be beaten from the other side, I actually can, and the reason is that from the other side you can only shoot in the bottom straight line with the Ray of Doom, since the laser origin is higher, but not with the accelerator. From my spot, on the other hand, I can shoot in a straight line with the accelerator, so this round goes from being impossible to actually really simple. I don't even have to micro, if you can believe that. I just put the target at the very end of the track and then I'm done. Yeah, it ends up being extremely close. I'm like a split second away from dying to every single ceramic in the entire round, so it looks kind of scary, but it works, and all without any dartling micro whatsoever. So then on round 84 I get the tier 5 upgrade, and now it's gonna be easy for a while again. I save up to the ultra boost, I stall for 10 stacks on both towers, and then I proceed to shit my pants once I realize that for some reason I can't beat round 138. Turns out that this round is super hard in this spot, and I freaking mean it. I had to try moving the aim to so many different locations with so many different timings, and each time you try it, every split second difference in your timing makes a difference as to what bloons you're gonna leak to. So even if I try doing the same thing twice, I don't get the same result, and this can really drive you mad. But here I'm showing a few of my attempts as I was getting closer and closer to beating it. And after a good while I finally got it, and oh boy was it close, and it's really satisfying when you finally manage to do it. And now we can proceed into the randomly generated rounds and see if I can beat my previous score of 146 on Resort. Most of these rounds turned out to be quite easy. Now you might say, why do you say turned out to be easy? You knew what the rounds were gonna be. Well, yeah, I did, but the thing is that using the prediction tool I can mostly just try to avoid triple bad rounds. The DDTs are gonna spawn on most rounds anyway, and it's the timing of the DDTs that kills you. You see, this run will eventually end up dying to me getting my laser blocked from putting max damage onto a bunch of DDTs, and sure, you can see the exact send time of the different bloon groups that are sent in the rounds, but the timing as to where on the map they're gonna be, and thus if you're gonna get blocked or not, you don't know. Well, I guess you might be able to do some math to figure that out if you really wanted to, because you can get a hold of the exact speed numbers for each and every mob class for that particular round as well, and then you have the length of the map available to you as well, so I guess you could nerd out and really dive into it if you wanted to, but then you also gotta factor in things like you might pop a BFB into a Moab and they're faster, and then they might end up blocking you, so yeah, that's gonna be pretty crazy. So unless you want to go full nerd mode, there is still gonna be some RNG to it, and for this run I also just checked a handful of seeds before starting my game, so if you want to try and beat this record, and I encourage you to, you definitely can. You just gotta spend a bit more time searching for seeds, or just get a little lucky. This run died on 148 when I got blocked from killing the final few fortified DDTs. I tried avoiding popping anything at the start of the round to lower the amount of time I was getting blocked, and after a long time I did manage to take out the DDTs, but then I didn't have enough time to take out the bads. This 2-tower chimps journey has been insane, and it's not over yet. Let me give you a little bonus to finish the video. With the new map, you can beat 2-tower chimps with a 025 Legend of the Night and a 052 Mermonkey, and that is also a very strong 2-tower chimps combo that could make it very far. And here is some gameplay from the challenge editor. I didn't play a whole game, I just started with a bunch of cash on this round just to show you. The reason I didn't do an actual attempt right now is because the tier 5 mermonkey is bugged, so that when you use the ability you can actually freeze bad bloons, which is pretty insane. So even if I did an actual run right now, that wouldn't count, because it would be using a bug that's gonna get patched very soon, probably update 51.1, but that should leave you with quite some hope for the future regarding pushing this record. It can be done with the setup I used, or probably this new one too, but it's not gonna be me. Until we see some major change, I am done with this challenge. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, I hope you enjoyed it. If you want to check out the round predictor tool from Dogs, I'll link it in the description. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.